Too, we pay a visit to the doctor's surgery for a Yuletide edition of that much-loved serial, Dr. Finlay's Casebook.
What a lovely lamb, Monica. Now then, Kathleen, have you got that card ready for me?
Yes.
Where is it then? Show it to me. Oh, my, but that's beautiful. You've really made that beautifully. Now then, where shall we put it? There? No, it won't do there, will it? Perhaps you better go in the middle. Now, I think that's better, huh? I'll go and get the drawing pins, eh?
Look, Aunt Alison, look at the streamers.
Oh, my, but that's fine. Will you make some more just like that?
Mrs. Bell?
Yes?
I've arranged to see Dr. Snoddy at 11 o'clock.
Oh, yes. Mrs. Smithy has arrived.
Would you sit with Patricia while she's a bit upset.
With pleasure.
Oh, you're very kind. They all love their Aunt Alison.
It's a privilege. I can't doctor them or nurse them, but what's upset her, Mrs. Smith? It might be as well to know.
I want to have a home.
I see.
You know the situation.
You'll find Dr. Snoddy in there with matron. Now, me? There must be a leak in the ceiling.
Mummy wants to take me home for Christmas.
Darling, that's lovely. You'll have your stocking hanging by your own chimney in your own wee room.
But I'll miss the party here.
I told my husband what Dr. Snoddy told me yesterday, and...
Yes, of course.
And we both agreed that if she's going to die, she'll die at home with us.
I understand, Mrs. Smith. I realize how you both must feel. But the important thing is what is best for Patricia.
But you said it might only be a matter of days.
Yes, but you do realize that here in hospital, the convenience...
We have everything she needs. Oh, Doctor, she's got to come home.
Well, it'll make little difference to Patricia, I'm bound to agree. But it'll make things easier for you and Mr. Smith.
We want her home.
Very well.
Not at the moment, Mrs. Bell.
It's about Patricia.
What's wrong?
Nothing's
Oh,
wrong.
well, you better come in. You don't mind, Aunt Alison. Her voluntary work has done so much for the children.
Yes, I know. What is it about Patricia?
Well, may I?
Well, of course.
She wants to be home, Mrs. Smith. She's longing to be home with you, but she's just breaking her heart because she's got to miss the ward party, the Christmas Day party.
She'll forget that when she's at home.
I'm afraid not.
By Christmas Day, she may...
It's possible, I can't deny it.
Now, look, if I might make a suggestion.
Well, anything that would help.
If Patricia can't be here for the party, what's to stop us having the party while she is here?
Bring Christmas Day forward, you mean?
Well, just for the children's ward. Now, Mrs. Smith, it'll take a day or two to arrange. Could you not leave her here just for 1 or 2 days? Well, after all, then she'll have the best of hospital and the best of home as well.
How long?
The 20th?
All right, yes.
You're a splendid mother. Now then, away you go and tell Patricia that'll soon wipe those tears away.
Thank you, matron. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
I can remember when we didn't have Christmas Day at all in this way. This is the first time I've heard it suggested we hold Christmas Day on December the 20th.
Patricia might be dead on the 25th.
Oh, look, it's impossible. The concert party is arranged to be here on Christmas Day. First the children's ward, then females, then men. They'll all be at their various places of work on Wednesday.
Well, we can find others.
We?
Well, I can. I've got an idea. I think this is an inside job.
No, Mrs. Bell. We're understaffed and overworked. And 2 Christmas days in 1 week is just more than my nursing staff can stand.
I wasn't thinking of the nurses. Now, it would be kind if Dr. Snoddy would arrange a wee conference of all the talents. Let's see what the doctors have in the little black bag.
What's that, Snoddy? Gifts? A reprehensible custom imported from England in recent years. I hope you will tell Miss Bell that I am by no means a soft touch. Very well, I will tell her myself. If you drive over here in 2 minutes, and that hearse is yours, there might be some coffee left.
That's a queer partnership, Dr. Snoddy and Mrs. Bell, eh?
The begging bowl, they're coming over here to discuss our gifts. There was a heavy humor in his voice.
Well, in that case, I'd best make a fresh pot, Doctor. You might need a stimulant.
One kind or another. What for the gift in Adam?
He did not enlarge. The children's ward, I suppose. It's odd. Snoddy is not fond of hospital camp followers.
Oh, who is? I've got all the time for Mrs. Bell, though. I mean, after all, she was a professional of some kind or another, wasn't she?
Auntie Allison. Reading the birthday lists on children's island.
Ah, no, that's hardly fair. She must have been a very good organizer, as well as being Auntie Allison to thousands of invisible children.
Including you.
Hardly.
Let me remind you, Dr. Finlay, when you dip your hand in your pocket, she was not my auntie.
She's not that old.
Dr. Snoddy and Mrs. Bell?
Dr. Snoddy. Pleasant to have you here, Miss Bell. It's the first time, I believe.
You're very kind, Dr. Cameron. I hope you'll not regret it. Good evening, Dr. Finlay.
Good evening. How's your husband, Mrs. Bell? I haven't seen him since the Harvest Festival.
Well, he's very much better, I must say. He's preaching tonight at Knox Hill.
And you, I gather, are going to preach here. Will you manage a peroration from a seated position?
One explanation, Cameron, from me.
Let's hear the worst. And would you kindly bear in mind, I have many calls in my purse.
Mrs. Bell is not looking for money.
Well, Dr. Finlay, you can relax.
Oh, I can relax.
Our visitors appear to be bearing gifts. You did mention gifts.
Of a different kind. Cameron, we're bringing forward the Children's Ward Christmas party to Wednesday.
Indeed, it's a little inconvenient, isn't it?
Very, because the concert party will not be available. The nursing staff are already overworked. Now, Dr. Cameron, I would very much like you and Dr. Finlay and Dr. Snoddy here to provide the entertainment.
Mrs. Bell, I have sometimes been asked to work wonders as a doctor, but I'm not a conjurer.
But see, somebody's got a talent, Doctor.
That's as may be, but why should busy doctors be burdened when you can wait until Christmas Day?
Patricia Smith's being discharged on Thursday at her mother's request.
And she's breaking her heart because she's got to miss the party.
Patricia?
I see. You might have told me this first, Mrs. Bell. We're all very fond of
I
Patricia.
know that, Doctor, but I don't like to go straight to a man's heart.
Scruples in a woman, Janet. Mrs. Bell is a rara avis.
Oh, well, if that is something nice, Dr. Cameron, I'm sure no one will quarrel with it. But you'll bear in mind that scruples have never yet helped a woman.
I'm sure that Dr. Cameron would agree to help without any special pleading.
Anything in my power, Mrs. Bell, but apart from medicine, I have no useful gifts. I could hardly lecture on the art of violin making or care of hothouse plants.
Now, everyone's got a party piece, Doctor. Everybody could have some more sugar. Thank you very much. Just one. Fine, thank you. Now, Dr. Cameron, you've got a talent, even if you don't know it. Dr. Finlay, so have you. And so is Dr. Snoddy.
Oh, really? What's mine?
Well, I don't know yet, but I'll try to find it. Now then, you and Dr. Cameron take back. Did you never say to yourselves, if I hadn't been a doctor, I might have been this or that?
I have had my silent, silly thoughts, of course.
Dr. Cameron, tell me your dreams.
I had hoped to find a new disease and have it named after me.
Now, Doctor, you're dodging. That's not what you had in mind at all. Oh, well, Dr. Finlay, now, what about you? You're not shy.
Now, what about Dr. Snoddy? Have you found his hidden talent?
I have.
I was always a good hand at a comic song. I assure you, Cameron, I brought the house down in my time. Aye, George Roby. I ever felt that he deserved top billing.
I tell you, Dr. Snoddy, you're going to do a red-nosed comedian act at the children's party.
I certainly am. One shouldn't let a talent lie idle.
I mustn't miss this.
But you'll not miss it, Dr. Finlay, because you'll be there with an act of your own.
Oh, no. You're not going to get me to make a fool of myself, I'm
But
afraid.
the children would love you to make a fool of yourself. That's the point. Now, Dr. Finlay, what'll you do? Come on now. The hidden aspiration of a lifetime. What did you want to be when you were young?
Jack Hobbs.
Oh.
Hardly a party piece.
All right, come on then, Dr. Cameron. What are you going to do now? Come clean, eh?
There are times in my life when I... Oh, it's absurd.
We're all absurd, Doctor. Do you know that I wanted to be Gladys Cooper's understudy the night she tonsillitis?
You've hit it. How clever of you.
You wanted to be an actor?
It's ridiculous.
Not at all.
Star quality, Cameron. What a pity you've never been tested.
Have you, Snotty?
I've entertained as a medical student, smoker before now, and got 3 encores. You can't say that with a soliloquy from Hamlet.
Is that so, Snotty? Is that so?
It is so.
Well, that's all fixed then. Now then, Dr. Finlay, what about you?
Oh, well, perhaps I could give some kind of recitation.
But why not? In costume.
The only costume I've got's my kilt.
If it's your fishing kilt, Doctor, you'd best do the rake of the Hesperus.
Oh, another comic. I think you'd better enroll Miss McPherson.
It's hardly called for, Dr. Finlay. We cannot all be public performers.
Quite so, Miss McPherson will, I hope, give her usual assistance behind the scenes. We can't hope to match her in the party catering line.
Oh, well, no doubt I shall be there, Dr. Snoddy, in my proper station. You'll mind it was the 3 wise men that brought gifts to a child. But it was a woman who fed him.
Quite true.
But, Dr. Snoddy, we always put the screens round one corner of the ward and the artists fix their costumes behind that. What? The duty room? Yes, but if we use the duty room as a dressing room, where'll we fix the tea tray? Oh, well, if you must have a dressing room... What about the sluice room? Yes, I know, but any child who makes an urgent demand during the concert will be very unpopular. So will you. What? A mirror? Oh, really, Doctor? This is a hospital, not the Lyceum. Oh, very well, then. No doubt something can be arranged. Come in.
Matron,
Oh, Mrs. Bell, what have you started?
Matron, have I done something I shouldn't have?
Oh, this special concert party.
Oh, you mean the 3 wise men?
What? About as misleading as most billings. If I know anything about theatre, which I don't, but I'm learning fast.
Dear me, Matron, is there some trouble?
Dr. Snoddy thinks he's Henry Irving.
Oh, I thought that was Dr. Cameron.
Well, Dr. Cameron hasn't asked for a star dressing room with a mirror. Not yet. But seriously, what are they proposing to inflict on the children and me?
I don't know, Matron. I don't know for sure, but they're amateurs and they're capable of anything.
Well, my impression of amateurs is that they're capable of nothing.
That won't stop them from trying. Do you know, Matron, that these 3 wise men have already forgotten what this party's for? I've opened the door to years of frustrated vanity. Nothing will stop it now.
You see, choppies,
I suppose we must wait to share the joke, Janet.
Oh, it'd be very untheatrical to blow the gaff, Dr. Cameron.
And may I suggest you wait for the laughs? If I am needed, I may be found in the surgery. But I hope not to be disturbed.
As the phone rings, I'll see you at the Glasgow Arts Club. Thank goodness for that. Now I can do it out loud. The proper way.
Oh, do, Dr. Finlay, it would be less of a strain on you and on me, I hope.
This is marvellous stuff this done.
What is, Doctor?
Do you know the story of David and Goliath?
Dr. Finlay, I was not brought up a heathen. Of course I know the story of David and Goliath.
I was told in broad Scots.
Oh, aye, by William McCullough. But I've not heard the thing here.
Told by his grandfather to his grandson. Just you listen to this. This will have the bairns rolling in the bed. Well, you see, wee Davy was just a wee bit boy. Aye, just a wee laddie. And at the time that the war broke out with the Philipsteins at the commencement of hostilities, his 2 brothers was called up for to join the militia. And of course wee Davy wanted for to gang, eh?
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt. Oh, and resolve itself into a dew. Oh, that the everlasting had not cast his cannon against of slaughter. No, not quite the right thing.
Alexander! Alexander!
Hey, coming, dear.
We got a big sword, and they cut it off the giant's head and took it home and put it in the sideboard. And the Philipsteins all ran away. Aye, and he was just a wee bit boy. Aye. Not that bad, is it?
Dr. Finlay, surely they will not understand one single word of it. And little Patricia is English born and bred anyway.
Who?
Patricia.
Oh.
Not one word.
But that's the point. That's what makes it funny. You don't think it's funny?
Well, it would not roll me out of bed.
Yeah, I'm just jealous, that's all.
I expect that's it, Dr. Finlay. Dr. Finlay, have you any idea what can happen to a crowd of bedridden children when they all get bored at the same time? They make the one request that nobody can ignore.
Janet!
They will all be wet at both ends.
Where you been, woman, in the attic?
I'm sorry, Dr. Gabbard. I was helping Dr. Finlay with his recitation.
Oh, is he any good?
Well, are you on first, second, or last, Doctor?
Last, naturally. Recitation, comic songs merely build up.
Well, he can hardly drive the audience away, can he?
That is it, is he? I have to save the honor of the house.
How do you propose to do it, Doctor?
You will hear me, Janet. I need a feed.
Doctor, it's not half an hour since dinner.
Woman, are you completely ignorant of the terms of the theatre?
Yes, Doctor, I'm just an ignorant Scots housekeeper.
A very fair description of Lady Macbeth.
Oh, is that who I am?
Mrs. Bell will do it in the day. You'll be busy cutting sandwiches now. If you just read from there. And perhaps with a little expression, Janet, but don't overdo it.
Well, I'll try, Doctor, but you never know. I might have talent.
Prepare to accept the risk. Are you ready? This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thought to see a sorry sight.
As one did laugh and sleep, and one cried murder, that they did wake each other. I stood and heard them, that they did say their prayers, and turned again to sleep.
There are two lodged together.
Skip it, woman. This works only with matched talents. I must find my proper level. Is there no peace in this house?
Macbeth hath murdered peace, to say nothing of Willie McCullough.
I think it's better than George McRoby or the beer bum tree of Tanach Bray.
Oh, very likely. These bairns are familiar with first-class Highland dancing.
Well, if I can't do anything they can see and I can't do anything they can hear, what am I to do?
I'm afraid we shall have to do without you, Dr. Finlay. The only entertainer that does nothing he can see and nothing he can hear is a ventriloquist.
That's the notion.
But I will thresh my sheepskin.
One morning about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just when people were going to bed, a small boy of about 80, the only daughter of an old maid with 17 orphan children, was alarmed by hearing a dead man cry, "Murder!" A lame man jumping over a house, slightly killing 2 dead pigs that had been hatched for the cow 4 days afterwards. Desist! Now, children, I'm going to sing your song.
What song, Dr. Snoddy? What are you going to sing?
Well, actually, it's a love song. But it's a fishy love song. Now, I want you all to listen carefully to the words and count all the different kinds of fish. Can you all count?
Yes.
And you know all sorts of fish?
Yes.
Right. KFC, please. Sweet and chubby, I'm waiting for thee. Thou dear little soul, art thou coming out to me? I sardinely came out on purpose to see and bid thee a welcome, my sweet anchovy. Welcome, sweet Anne, to that place thou art waiting. caught waiting for me. No, there's another verse. It's a blow to my heart when her pa crabs our deals. She's a dab, though, to cod him and takes to her eels. Says she, you must stir, John, if me you prefer. I do want to keep her, kipper. And that's why I stir. Stir, stir, fine I stir. Her sweet voice does call up sweet memories to me. Now then, how many fish?
16!
16, you're absolutely right.
No, Dr. Snoddy, no.
No?
It's 15, not 16. A porpoise is a mammal. It's not a fish. Ow.
You did that on purpose, huh? Oh, rollicking fun. Follow that.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, children. I'm delighted to be able to inform you that on this auspicious occasion, the Ministry of Health have decided to send you all a Christmas present. It's a new doctor.
It's not big enough.
Ah, just you wait till you see this. Just a minute. Here we are. Oh, there you are now. Meet Dr. Dummy. About time, too. What was that, Doctor? How would you like to come from Glasgow all the way wrapped up in a parcel? What's this lot? These are your patients. Have you been treating them? Yes, myself and Dr. Snoddy and Dr. Cameron. I don't like my goods damaged. I like my victims fresh. Yes, well, you're not going to eat them. You're going to treat them. That's what you think. Well, never mind talking. Just let's get on with the work. Now, who's the first? Here we are here. I wonder if you can tell what's wrong with this patient here. Head case. Well, you're the doctor. He doesn't need castor oil. He needs engine oil. Now, who's the next? Here we are. Now, next one. You got a pain. She's got a carbuncle on her convolvulus. Now, that's ridiculous. Nobody's got a convolvulus. You've got a lot to learn, haven't you? What do we do about it? Well, I have to fertilize her 4 times a day. Do you put manure in your rhubarb? Yes, of course. That's funny. I put custard on mine. Where's the next one? Here we are. Here. Now then. Turn over. Turn back again. Turn over. Does she suffer from dizzy spells? Yes, she does. Not surprising, is it? Just sit me down on the piano here. That's right. Nothing I can do with this lot. They're bigger than I am. Who's next?
Dr. Cameron.
Never heard of him. What have you got to laugh at? Anyway, whoever he is, play him in.
If music be the food of love, play on, give me excess of it. That surfeiting the appetite may sicken and so die. Let's strain again. Oh, it came o'er me like the sweet sound that breathes upon a bank of violets, stealing and giving odor. Enough, no more. 'Tis not so sweet now as it was before. Oh, spirit of love, how quick and fresh art thou, that notwithstanding thy capacity receiveth as the sea. Naught enters there of what validity and pitch soe'er, but falls into abatement. And low price, even in a minute. So full of shapes is fancy, that it alone is high fantastical.
Really, Dr. Snoddy.
A theatre, dear boy. The audience is the sole judge of what's right and what's wrong. Have another go, mates, and soon have them in hand.
Oh, heaven forbid! You've sent up every tenth from the ward already. Will you please leave the ward?
Oh,
Matron, would you like me to tell them a story? A very quiet story.
That's just what they need. Oh, very well, Miss McPherson.
No. Would you like a story? Yes. Are you quite sure you'd like a story?
Yes.
Now. Well, there was once an old man who would get very cross. And when he got cross, he would get up to all kinds of mischief. Now, he was sleeping soundly one morning when he was awakened by the dawn chorus. Oh, you've heard it, I'm sure. And very beautiful it can be, except when you are hoping to sleep late. Well, he listened. The louder the bird sang, the crosser he got. Oh, he said, I'll fix them. So the next morning, an hour before dawn, this old man got up and he went out. He stood under the trees and he... And of course all the birds, thinking that the dawn had come, woke up and began to sing. Well, at the end of the day, they were very, very tired. But the next morning, 2 hours before the dawn this time, the old man got up again, and again he went out, and again he stood under the trees, and he... And again the birds, thinking that the dawn had come, woke up and began to sing. Well, of course, they had a very long day. And when the evening came, they were so tired they could neither eat, they could not sleep. They began to quarrel amongst themselves, and then they began to lose all their feathers. One by one, the feathers fell out, until soon they hadn't a feather left to fly with. So they went to the wise old owl.
Please, miss, if the birds had lost all their feathers, how could they fly to the owl?
Well, now, some of them ran, and some of them walked, and some of them took a ride on the back of a rabbit. And so they got to the wise old owl. Ooh, said the owl, quarreling amongst ourselves. This has never happened before. It must be someone else who is causing the mischief. Tonight, we will all wait up, all the birds of the forest, and when it happens again, we will catch whoever it is. So that night, all the birds stayed up all night. And when the old man came out again in the morning before the dawn, and the owls swooped down.
Please, miss. Oh, the owls had lost all their feathers. How could they fly up and swoop?
Well, the owls had not lost their feathers. They had not lost a single feather.
How was that, miss?
Well, the owls are birds of the night. They don't get up at dawn. They go to bed at dawn.
Thank you, miss.
Thank you. Now, when all the owls swooped down on this man, they picked him up, and they shook him, and away they flew with him. Away, 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 high up into the sky, and they put him sitting on a cloud. Now, you see what you have done. All through you, the birds have lost their appetites. They have lost their song, and they haven't a feather left to fly with, all through your bad temper. Here is a needle. Here is cotton, and here is a cloud. And this is your sentence. You will sit on this cloud and you will sow new feathers until all the birds have their feathers back again. So he sowed. Dark feathers from the dark clouds, white feathers from the white clouds, and colored feathers from the sunsets of the evening. Until all the feathers, the birds, had all their feathers back again. There he sat in this cloud, stitching, stitching, and stitching. And the last I heard, he was still up there, stitching still.
How
How long's he going to go on sulking in there?
He's not sulking, Dr. Finlay. If all you see is true, he has every right to be angry.
I could be angry in here. Wouldn't be the first time.
There's times a man needs privacy.
Anyone would think it was me that was to blame. You know, I was just as angry as he was.
It hasn't occurred to you, Dr. Finlay, that it might be me.
You? No, it's that damn Clarence nonsense.
There's a lot you have to learn about human nature, Dr. Finlay.
Oh, yes, I'm just an ignorant boy, I suppose. Janet, how can you possibly think... Janet, that's nonsense.
Good evening, Mr. Burton.
No.
Come in.
Dr. Cameron, Dr. Snoddy would like a word with you.
Ask the Snoddy to wait, Janet.
My dear Cameron, old colleagues mustn't stand on ceremony.
In my house, sir, that's better for me, Snoddy.
Oh, come now, Cameron.
I have a good professional reason for calling, Dr. Snoddy.
Yes, I've come to apologize.
Apologize?
For grossly unprofessional behavior.
Do sit down. Now, let me see. What case was that? Or is there more than one?
Case? I'm talking about the party.
Party? I don't think I understand. You're talking about a professional matter. Grossly unprofessional behavior was a phrase.
You know perfectly well what I'm talking about. I ruined your act.
Ruined?
Oh, that's the only word strong enough.
Are you confessing or boasting?
I'm apologizing.
You made it a little difficult, I recall, but why should you bother? My dear fellow, I do not attach importance to a little amateur mummery at a children's party, or uncouth and inconsiderate conduct prompted by a very natural envy. In these contexts, Snoddy, these things are trifles.
Well, if that's how you feel about it...
However, since you appear to attach some importance to what you yourself have called grossly unprofessional behavior, I must take you as seriously as you take yourself.
Oh, very good of you, I'm sure.
In which case, I must point out that your apology is private, whereas your offense is public.
You're not suggesting... Not the children's ward.
Oh, they would not understand. Do join us in the sitting room, Snoddy.
I don't hear any sign of civil tumult.
Maybe he's been too long on the boil, Doctor.
Let us have a drink.
Good evening, Dr. Snoddy.
Good evening.
Doctor?
Dr. Snoddy has come to apologize for his gratuitous horse play this afternoon.
Now, listen, Cameron, I never said...
Here, have a drink. I do not recall anything of moment to you.
Me? No, nothing.
Nobody else come to eat humble pie, I hope. I should begin to think I've been insulted unaware. Do drink up, man. Good malt whiskey sits well on a clear conscience after confession.
You might have spared me a housekeeper, Cameron. I'll think twice before I apologize to you again.
Well, you better think twice before you give yourself cause.
Mrs. Bell, Doctor.
Good to see you again, Mrs. Bell.
Oh, well, it's very good of you to receive me so late. I do apologize.
What? Oh, enough's enough.
I've asked Miss McPherson to remain, Doctor. Well, very good to see you all here at the Three Wise Men party.
There's nothing to do with that little effort. Do sit down.
Thank you.
You have a drink?
No,
I got the impression.
not since I left the BBC. My husband's a minister.
Very proper.
Dr. Cameron, I brought some pleasant news.
Oh, good for you. That makes a change here, I can tell you.
I've been talking to the programme controller at Edinburgh.
What, the BBC?
Yes, the BBC. My old boss. He still expects me to keep an eye open for talent, you know.
Talent?
Well, Scottish talent. We try to ensure that London doesn't hog the air.
Very good, Mrs. Bell. You were talking to him today after the party?
I was indeed. It isn't often one runs into a natural talent for broadcasting.
It's very gratifying, of course, but it has not occurred to me that we were a very homogeneous party.
Obviously not, Cameron. Mrs. Bell is thinking of a single talent.
Of course.
I'm afraid that lets me out. My appeal was purely visual.
I'm afraid so.
Oh, aye, but Tullicus are tenor penny, so are Shakespearean actors, even the professionals.
It had not occurred to me, Snoddy.
I'm quite sure that Dr. Snoddy and Dr. Cameron would ornament any stage. But radio broadcasting is the perfect medium for the storyteller.
It's been an interesting evening, Cameron. I must be on my way. Good night, Mrs. Bell.
Good night, Dr. Snoddy.
I'll see myself out, Miss McPherson. You're being called, it would seem, to higher things.
You, Mr. Felton.
But that's wonderful, Janet. That's terrific. Why, you're number 6.
Congratulations, Janet.
Well, I can't do it. But of course you can do it. It'll be a lot easier than what you did this afternoon.
But when did it happen?
Christmas Day. Oh, dear. From Edinburgh, it's all fixed.
What time?
9:15 p.m.
But that is news time.
Well, that's the one, Snag. The arrangement is tentative to this extent, Mr. Pearson, that you'll be telling a story if there's no news.
Surely you don't expect any news on Christmas Day.
It's very rare.
So really, no news will be good news.
Well, good night, Dr. Cameron.
Good night, Mrs.
And
Bell.
congratulations on harboring genius unawares.
I'll just see you out.
Thanks.
Well. Very exciting.
It cannot be true. Someone is having me on.
Mrs. Bell's a responsible person, that's been my impression. Still, I'm inclined to wonder whether she knows what she's doing.
But she would not play a cruel trick.
Oh, no, of course not, Janet. This is entirely for you to say.
Well, I won't accept, of course, Dr. Cameron, but I would like to think that you would want me to.
What? Well, of course he wants you to, don't you?
It's not as simple as that, Dr. Finlay.
What, is she anything complicated about it? But Janet's going to read the story over the air.
And after that?
Well, she pockets a fee and then she gets her name in the Tannock Bay Advertiser.
No, Dr. Finlay, I'll just tell Mrs. Bell that I cannot do it. She'll quite understand.
Understand what?
Well, I just could not face it, that's all.
Of course you could face it. You wanted to do it, don't you?
I do not wish to express my opinion one way or the other.
Well, you're putting a real damper on it. What's the trouble? Janet cooks the lunch on Christmas Day. I drive her to Edinburgh. And you have a cold supper. That's no great hardship on a red letter day, is it?
Dr. Finlay, I will not be forced into a false position. It is intolerable.
Well, what position are you in?
I'm concerned about Janet.
What is there to be concerned about? It's a triumph. I, for one, don't begrudge her it. I know Dr. Snoddy did.
Are you bracketing me with Snoddy?
Well, are you?
Certainly not. I am concerned about Janet's welfare. After one blaze of glory, one little triumph, she will come back to this mundane life. It is a great burden to bear.
She'll survive.
I wonder how many hopefuls Miss Bell has called from the kitchen to the ball. And then how many have discovered that they were not Cinderellas after all. After Christmas, if Mrs. Bell calls at my house, Janet will still be opening the door to her.
I've seen people opening doors and going out and never coming back again, you know. What? Why, he's jealous.
He was telling the truth.
Oh, the time for truth, that time for shutting up, Janet. They couldn't raise a cheer, he could at least have forced a smile and given the job his blessing.
You were a wee bit jealous yourself, Dr. Finlay.
Yes, I know I was to begin with, but I got over it.
He was just thinking ahead for me, Doctor. And he's quite right. It could break my heart.
Janet, this thing was invented for you. They didn't know it at the time, but this has been waiting for you. This is something you've got to do. I'm young. There's time for things to happen to me, yet you're not. You're not young. If you don't do this, nothing again might ever happen until you die. Listen, Janet. I'm going to drive you out of Tannock Bray. I'm going to drive you to Edinburgh, and I'm going to stand you a dinner. A champagne dinner. And you're going to sit in front of a microphone and you're going to read a story for Christmas. Aren't you?
Well, no champagne, Dr. Finlay. I could not do it if I was tickly.
I couldn't do it if I was sober.
I have thought for some time that we needed a new set.
Dr. Cameron, I'm quite willing to go half on the installment.
I was thinking of paying cash. I'm obliged to Dr. Finlay, but this set will be my Christmas gift to the house. Through it, we shall hear Janet's gift to the world.
Here is the shipping forecast. In District Hebrides and Clyde,
No sense at all.
backing later. Visibility
Dr. Cameron.
deteriorating.
Mr. Blandy, do
District
you know what time it is?
Tay, moderate westerly wind.
Yes, you've been correctly informed. It is Miss Janet McPherson, my
Moderate
housekeeper.
good. In District 40s,
I imagine about midnight.
strong southwesterly wind.
Don't give a damn when you interview her, so long as you get off the line now.
There are no local announcements tonight. Here is a Christmas story where kindness is. Written and read by Janet McPherson.
My grandfather was a young man. He was going on a Christmas Eve to a party at the big house. It was cold and snowing, but bright enough. And he stopped for a moment at the gate to admire the magic of the evening. And before him he saw the figure of an old man, sobbing as if his heart would break. "Good evening," said my grandfather. "What is wrong?" "Can you not see," sobbed the old man, "that I am a ghost?" "Oh, dear," said my grandfather, "I'm sorry to hear that. Are you sure you're a ghost?" "Well, if you look through me," said the ghost, "cannot you see the snow falling?" "Oh, I can. And if you look at my bagpipes, cannot you see through them to the hills beyond?" "Oh, I can." "When I died, I was luckier than most. I was allowed to choose the house that I would haunt." "And why did you have to haunt at all?" my grandfather asked. "Ah, well, it was my sentence, you see," said the ghost, "and if you do not mind, we will not go into the reason why I was given it. Well, I chose to haunt this house. I was born in it, you see, and very warm and comfortable it has been for the last 279 years. But every Christmas Eve, I have to come out here into the cold, and here I stay until the piper at the house plays the Braes of Auchtenay. Then, and only then, when the tune is played, can I go back into the ward. Now, there is a young lady at the house, and a very ugly young woman she is. And out of her ugliness, she has forbidden the piper to play the tune tonight. So here I must stay, in the wet and the cold, evermore, haunting outside. Wouldn't you pity me? I have no future left. You will hear the tune, said my grandfather. And away he went, away up into the house and straight up to the ugly young woman. And he gazed at her. "Why are you looking at me like that?" she said. "Cannot you speak?" "I am dumbfounded by your beauty, ma'am," said my grandfather. "Oh, but I am so ugly," she said. "Only on the face of it," said my grandfather. "But I can see the soul of you, and the inner grace that is real beauty." And with that, the ugly woman bowed her head and cried, for it seems that no one had ever said a kind word to her before. And then she spoke. "Where kindness is, let kindness be. There's one tonight whose heart is so big, and all because of me. She called the piper to her, and this to him did she say, play up tonight as near before, the Braes of Auchtenay." So the ghost heard his tune and was happy. But the really strange thing about the story is this, that though my grandfather told a lie, he thought, in the first place, it was true in the second. For he married the ugly young woman, and to him she was beautiful for all of her days. I remember her well, my grandmother.
Would you mind waiting here, Mr. Blandy?
Dr. Cameron, I was hoping to interview Cinderella in the kitchen. There's no story in here.
Oh, no kitchen tonight. You'd better if you let me break the news to her that she's news. Unprepared, the sight of you might strike her dumb.
Oh, yes, sir.
Do sit down, man, and help yourself.
It surely hasn't gone to bed early on this night of all nights.
Oh, he has not. Well, Janet, it went very well indeed.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
You tired?
Oh, it's the hardest day's work I ever did in the whole of my life.
I'm afraid there's one little thing for you to do before you go to bed.
Dr. Cameron.
Mr. Blandy of the advertisers in the surgery.
This hour of the night?
Yeah, you better go and see him and let the poor man get away to his bed.
If you say so, Doctor. Oh.
I think I'll be off to my bed, too. It's been a long day.
A good day.
A splendid day. Day for the king.
I had all that from Mrs. Bell.
All right, it was Mrs. Bell that started it all.
What I'd like to know, Miss McPherson, is how you go about writing these stories.
They just come to me.
But I mean, you're not a writer. You're a housekeeper. Now, do you sit down at the end of your day's work in the kitchen and try to think of a story, or do the stories come to you as you work? Rolling the pastry, basting the joint.
Well, some I heard at my mother's knee, and others just come when I'm not expecting anything of the kind.
How'd you take to it?
Oh, no bother at all. It was me that was doing all the sweating, you know. There's a lot to be said for a lack of sophistication.
Quite. Innocence is a good substitute for courage. It'll be harder a second time.
I will so soon find out.
Indeed?
They gave me a contract.
Is that so?
Right, to write and read another 6 stories.
6? Miss McPherson, you got your finger on the fee?
6?
Ah, it's grand, isn't it?
So it's going to go on?
Oh, she's at home, Dr. Cameron. She's here to stay. It's not a full-time occupation.
No, she'll be paid, I presume. The contract is
No,
there.
I wouldn't feed a cat. Pin money, though.
I was afraid of this. It's an impossible situation.
I don't see that.
Dr. Finlay, you're either an obscure housekeeper or a Scottish national character. You can't be both. Surely you must see there.
You're serious, aren't you?
Perfectly. I have my normal share of vanity, but I'm not jealous of Janet.
Dr. Cameron, I wouldn't like to misjudge your motives.
But then you must see, cannot have a radio celebrity in my kitchen. Just wouldn't work.
It wouldn't make any difference to Janet.
It'll make a difference to the world, her world and ours. Dr. Finlay, the world will not permit us to mind our own business. Janet's position in both senses would be quite impossible.
Oh, I see. I mean, you couldn't sack her and she wouldn't get enough from the story. But what are we going to do then?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
Mr. Blandy is just leaving.
Much obliged to you.
Not at all, Mr. Bland.
This is a very happy occasion, Doctor. I congratulate you.
It's not me, it's Miss McPherson.
No, I congratulate you, Doctor, on immortality. Your immortality, Doctor.
No, surely not.
Well, as Janet McPherson's employer...
Mr. Blandy, it's very good of you to come along. I'll just see you out now.
The immortality of the apothecary.
Yeah.
The apothecary who employed John Keats.
Very good, yeah.
Cameron, he's not himself.
Janet, I've been practicing medicine for over 30 years, over 20 years here. One does not look for gratitude or illuminated testimonials, nothing more than a modest headstone at the end, but I did not expect this.
It was none of my doing, Doctor.
No, but it does not help.
Janet!
Mr. Blandy was the first, Dr. Finlay. He will not be the last.
He was drunk.
I was a fool. No more stories.
Listen, Janet, you can't bury your talent just because a fool makes mischief.
There are more fools than stories, Dr. Finlay, and there is no end to mischief.
You're wrong. You're very wrong. Dr. Cameron, you tell her.
I'm only wrong in this way, Dr. Finlay. I will tell you one more story, and then I will shut up for good. In the farmyard near where I was born, there lived a little brown fowl who minded her own business and never put a foot wrong.
Oh, Janet.
She pecked in the right pecking order. She never laid her eggs in the hedge, and broody was a word that could never be used about her. A wee brown fowl who minded her place so well that nobody noticed her. And one fine morning in spring, she felt a tickling in her tail. She turned, and there in her little brown tail was a feather. It cuddled, and it shone, and you couldn't tell whether it was green or blue. But the little brown fowl knew it was a very pretty thing, and it was hers, and it was hers alone. So she called the other little fowls to her. Look, she said, pointing to the feather. Did you ever see the like of this before? Could you tell whether it is green or whether it is blue? And all the other fowls crowded round her, and the cock came too. And they looked, and they looked, and they pecked her to death.
Janet.
And that's why they say, you silly old hen. If she'd stuck to her eggs, Doctor, she'd be alive today.